Breaking from Post Millennial. Disney, Lucasfilm settle Gina Carano lawsuit. Signal desire to work with the actress again. She won.
This is the end of wokeness, you guys.
Yeah,
Gina
we're in
Carano
the
won.
age.
She's back. She now can get jobs. She can be unblacklisted from Hollywood. Lucasfilm and Disney have both said that they would like to work with her again. She's a terrific actress. She deserves all the greatest opportunities in the world, and I couldn't be more excited for her to, get a little piece of her career back. And I hope that she got a whole bunch of money from Lucasfilms and Disney too, because it's not right when someone takes away for your career just because you posted a meme during COVID. Right. And the other thing too about her post, she posted a meme saying basically that the Nazis were able to control people because they got their neighbors to snitch on everybody, to snitch on each other, and that's a big deal. But Pedro Pascal did not get fired when in 2018 he compared the border situation in the U.S. to the Holocaust and threw that at Trump. He didn't get fired for that. And you had Disney and Lucasfilm coming out being like, oh, this is absolutely abhorrent. What she said is unbelievable. We can't have someone like this working for us. And they literally kept Pedro Pascal on. So
there was a guy that
welcome back, Gina Carano. I hope you get the best of everything.
Patriot Gina.
There was a guy that was literally masturbating after he got off that call with the media. What channel was it? MSNBC
what
or whatever?
Are you even talking
I
about?
remember he was on the call.
No, I'm trying
to talking about
Jeff
and
Tubin.
he didn't get fired.
You're talking about Jeff Tubin.
That guy.
Yeah, and he didn't get fired.
Does he still have a job?
But
Oh, yeah.
he still has a job.
He was
Yeah,
gone.
that-
I think he was gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks. He just apologized, whatever. I mean, it's horrifying. But what I will say is we are in the age of unapologetics, right?
Well, yeah, it's coming back. We've got
we-
hot blonde women advertising jeans
Right.
now.
Right.
American Eagle did not apologize.
Yeah.
They were like, hey,
America's
Joe Biden
Buy the
was so
jeans.
bad at his job that he completely changed the entire political landscape of the country to go back 20 years, which is crazy. He was that bad.
Joe Biden
Thank
brought
you,
us
Joe
together.
Biden.
It's
Thank
almost
you,
like
Joe Biden,
the
the
country
Patriot.
as a whole is going back to its ex. And that's
Joe
a beautiful
Biden, the
thing.
Patriot.
going back to his ex.
The whole United States as a whole are going back to our ex.
We're going back
Well,
to
there's also- there was
blonde,
a-
blue-eyed woman.
There was a study that came out also. Do you remember before COVID and then during BLM and all of that, you had the New York Times and all these other outlets talking so much about race that people's fear of racism and belief that racism was a huge problem in the country skyrocketed. And a new study came out, and that number is back down to sort of normal.
Yep.
People
crave authenticity. They crave people that are unapologetic. They want people that are outspoken. They're done with it. They want comedy back. I haven't seen Naked Gun yet, but that was a spicy movie. They came back. I mean, you remember from our childhood. I'm hoping they did a good job with it. But I'm just saying they're trying. It's coming back.
Do you think
We're
the
back,
Democrat Party as a whole adjusts their messaging because this isn't working anymore?
No,
they're doing
I don't think they
podcasts.
are at all. In
they-
fact, they're doing the opposite. And this is a huge problem for the Democratic Party, right? They could go in two directions right now. They have two options. One, go a little more establishment, veer center, capture that part of their base and that part of their voters, or they could veer far left and go the Zohran Mamdani, Omar Fatah, all of these guys in this direction. And that's what they're choosing to do. You had Elizabeth Warren the other day saying that Zohran Mamdani's message is the message for the future of the Democratic Party. She was very clear on that. AOC is endorsing. You have Bernie Sanders on that side. And the people in the Democratic Party who are not endorsing Mamdani, you have Chuck Schumer, you have Hakeem Jeffries. They're not endorsing. Cory Booker, not endorsing. But they're being super quiet about it. They don't really want you to notice that they have not endorsed the socialist candidate for mayor for New York City. So they're hedging, they're skirting those questions. You had Kamala Harris recently come out, what was it, last week on Stephen Colbert, and when she was asked who the leader of the Democratic Party was, she did not say herself, and she did not name anyone. Instead, what she said was that she'd like to take her book and tour around the country, not asking for people's votes. She's trying to come out as an outsider to the political party that she should be the head of right now, but she can't say that she's the head of it. Nobody is the head of the Democratic Party right now. And so what you have is the far left taking control. They're taking charge of this party. They're veering it further toward literal crazy, everyone's going to starve communism. That's what they're advocating for. And so is the Democratic Party going to, switch up their message because they're losing? No, they're doubling down on the lunacy. They're doubling down on the socialism, the free buses, all of the rest of it.
I disagree. I do think you're right.
But look at the landscape.
No,
Sean.
I do think you're right. I do think there's a percentage of the left of the Democrats that is definitely embracing socialism and communism. But if you look at the moderates, Michelle Obama has a podcast. Gavin Newsom has a podcast. If you're looking at all the
Gavin Newsom is not a moderate.
I was going to say,
and neither is Michelle Obama.
Everything wrong with California.
They're both pretty far left.
Mamdani's going on with Hassan. Like, they are looking at what we're doing and the things that we've done, podcasting things.
Sure.
They're talking about Epstein.
They're trying to mirror the cultural impact, but the messaging is still further left.
I understand, but all I'm saying is they are starting to learn from their mistakes with the
only
how
in terms of presentation.
Exactly. And
only
that's what
in
I'm saying.
terms of presentation.
I do think they give a wink and the nod to the
this is not Marshall McLuhan here. Like the medium is not the message.
But to say that they haven't changed anything, I think is wrong. I think they actually are learning and they're seeing what works on our side. We're the cool
messaging.
Yeah, it's
you
the same
had
food,
Nancy
different
Pelosi.
delivery.
Yeah, you had Nancy Pelosi out here today talking about how she wants to implement plans so that child sex changes are
that's punk
are
rock.
national.
We have that.
It's not punk rock for them. It's modus. It's modus operandi. It's status quo.
Hispanics are running away from
Sorry, Tate. Well, sorry.
Hey, I'm the host here, guys. Jeez. I'm just kidding. We got to watch the video that Libby was talking about. This is a good video. This is Nancy Pelosi. Look, she's young, and I think she's got many years of service.
How is your office responding to the pauses in gender affirming care here in California?
Well, that is something that I'm working for at the national level, and we have, how can I say, are hoping that we can have gender affirming care for our trans kids, and that it's a sad thing for us. I'm not totally. I don't know what effect we can have nationally with what we have going on in the White House and in the Congress. It's really very sad. If you were there, outside our door, we have a trans flag. Outside of our door in the office, congressional office building, we have the trans flag, as do some of our other colleagues.
So as you can see, she's very well spoken, which is a beautiful thing to see. This is kind
especially in our elder generation.
And this is kind of exhibit A for what Libby is saying, is they're just trying to like repackage really, really horrible ideas. And they're trying to, and she can't do it as well, but like she was saying, they're just trying to repackage it in the broadcast kind of presentation. But if you just listen to her, I mean, this is the moderate position in the Democrat Party today. And the Democrats, the situation they're in is the same situation the Republicans were in 2015, which was the base had no appetite to moderate at all. And they felt like every attempt to satiate them in any way wasn't enough. I think in 2028, the Democrats are going to send a brick through a window.
What do you mean?
I think the candidate that they're not going to tolerate a Josh Shapiro or Gretchen Whitmer. They're not going to just let someone they're not going to have that shoved down their throat. They're going to be angry. They're going to elect an equivalent to some degree of a Donald Trump as far as expressing anger, expressing discontent with the current elite of the Democrat Party.
They have absolutely no front runner. And what's interesting about that is if you look at the past several presidential elections, by this far out from an election, there was an opposition front runner.
But at this stage,
you had Al Gore.
What about 2016? The equivalent would be 2014, and Trump wasn't on the radar at that point yet.
No. I mean, Trump was on the radar by 2015 for sure.
But we're 2 years out.
But there were also already front runners, right? You had
Jeb
Marco
Bush, Scott Walker,
Rubio. You had Ted Cruz. You had Jeb Bush.
Bobby Jindal was like a front runner.
Sure, but you had these people, and if you look for the Democrats, this is a lot of runway that they have to not have anybody that they're launching. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that you're looking at perhaps Jasmine Crockett. You're looking at perhaps AOC. You're looking at the legit low IQ people from the Democrat Party because they're the only ones who are stupid enough to think that they have a shot.
But the difference between a person like Jasmine Crockett or AOC versus, not saying because obviously they're not the same at all, and Trump is Trump had the money to create an insurgency, where in the Democrat Party they're not going to have a war chest at their disposal.
They have a ton of money.
Yeah, they might have money. They don't have anyone that actually believes in the success of their dreams so much that they're willing to go out and
I don't think
You
they're going to
also
have a
had
war chest
something-
like Trump had.
I think that you're mistaken about just how much money the Democrats have, and in terms of Democrats' donors and open
I just
societies.
mean-
Well,
foundations and all
USAID
of
was
this
shut
stuff.
down, so that actually
USAID was shut down, but like they're going to come up with it. I mean, these people are still throwing multi-$1,000 plate fundraisers and stuff like that. They're still doing all of these things. None of that has shut down. And you had AOC after the 2024 election going out into her constituents and her district being like, I'm so confused. You voted for me and Trump.
Right.
AOC is very Trumpy.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
in terms of her populism.
I agree with you, Libby. I do agree that they need to fix their messaging. You know, trans shit that's so old hat now. Like there is stuff they're gonna have to update it, but MAGA has really put together the model for what works and what talks to people, and that's literally being authentic, literally being outspoken, getting on podcasts, getting on social media, saying crazy stuff. Crockett, whether you like her or not, she's like fearless when it comes to like, you know, saying what she thinks, you know, going out there acting crazy.
Did you see the report today from the New York Post?
Yeah, like her seat might be
No,
eliminated.
apparently her staffers say that she doesn't do any work.
Oh, of course not.
She just hangs out in her apartment and
she's
she's
a
like
spokesperson.
influencer level
Correct.
and not actually
That's-
doing anything for
Yeah.
the for
AOC
her
too. She's an
constituents.
influencer. That's all. They're just influencers. I mean, let's be real. Like politics is a popularity contest, right?
Well, I think
Like, at the end
AOC
of the
actually
day.
does have like committee assignments. Not
Yeah.
that means you're working, but like,
Right.
at least like she's
was
showing up places.
Yeah, she was.
Crockett's
she was
just hanging out.
She was on Twitch for a while playing. What's that Harvest game? The
Harvest Moon?
Harvest Moon. Yeah,
She
it's like
played-
our tax
she played
dollars.
games with Tim Waltz on Twitch.
I know our tax dollars hard at work. It's like I'm like mad.
But
about
like I agree with you. Like they're replicating the Trump or the MAGA like recipe of doing things, but the messaging hasn't changed. And I don't
Right.
think
It's like hollow.
yeah,
The messaging has
It's
changed
just
in the
still
sense
so
of
fu-
Epstein, though. Epstein was a big win for them, and
No,
they
it
know
was
that.
not.
It
They
is.
know it wasn't
because even the
they
MAGA
had.
base is upset about it.
Well, the thing too
Of course,
is
but-
the Democrats had 4 years to release anything on Epstein that they wanted, and if there was anything in there that actually harmed Trump, they would have released it. And that's why it sounds so hollow. And that's why you even had Joe Scarborough, I think, talking to Jamie Raskin about it on his show and being like, "Okay, Congressman, like." If you're so gung-ho about this Epstein stuff, why didn't you do anything about it for the past 4 years?
I understand what
and
you're
Raskin
saying.
couldn't say a word.
I understand what you're saying with the insiders. What I'm talking about is their base. And now, I mean, literally having Epstein on local news, on, you know, like in the mainstream psyche is insane. Like it's everything we've asked for the last, 8 years or whatever. Like it's finally mainstream. So they've kind of unlocked that. And all they're doing is taking the MAGA playbook and using it. You know, I agree the messaging needs to change and stuff, but they
I
are
don't think their
playing
messaging
copycat.
needs to change because
Copycat.
they don't think it needs to
Well,
change.
you won't get the
I think
same
it's just a
result.
losing message.
I understand.
Right. With losing people.
Yeah, I think that that's what's going on. I don't think they have a great chance for the midterms either because so far I don't know what they could possibly be driving home.
Sure.
Jeffries is mad. He just stands there on the floor yelling about everything. You know, you have Chuck Schumer doesn't know what's going on. All of the leading Democrat governors look like idiots out here being like, "Oh, we're going to redistrict our state." Well, you don't have anything to redistrict there.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I also hear them saying we need the new Joe Rogan, we need the new left's Joe Rogan, and they think it's like Friedland, you know, or
there's no
maybe
unifying.
even Theo Vaughn.
There's no unifying message in the Democrat Party.
No,
like in Trump,
exactly.
what Trump is like Trump's thing was like, you know, build the wall, make America great again. You know, we need to. You know, they're just not sending their best. Like that was their that was the thing, right? And that was like a unifying message. And like the Democrat Party is what more illegal immigration, trans stuff, right? And what else? Like what?
Yeah.
there's
Epstein right now.
I mean, you
It's
see-
hollow.
You
Well,
saw
well,
like
it's weird because like we actually like I mean at least the MAGA party had like goals that if accomplished would improve their lives, whereas if the accomplished goals happen on the left, like what does that actually mean?
Well, we don't.
More
I mean,
trans
that's
people. And,
Well, that's the problem. Is like you see the Zoran primary victory, and everyone's like, "This is great. We should export this to the country."
Right.
And it's like, this isn't even really so. I mean, it's socialism, obviously, but if you like read the policy, it's just totally incoherent. It's like, what are you exporting besides like general anti-white
Right.
hatred?
What they're saying
flashy
is-
TikToks. Is that the
Yes,
export?
that's what their export is. Understanding social media, how to use social media, something Trump is very good at, something Vance is a master at.
Zoran
right?
works great in New York, but it's not going to play in.
But it's
West
like, yeah, once
Virginia.
you get the votes, then what?
I understand,
if
but
he were
like
to win,
but he was able to get people pumped and excited through a new medium, which the Democrats have been failing at for years, or which MAGA has like taken over with podcasts and social media.
This
and
is
everything
just a 5-year growing pain. Like Obama was the first person to Twitter,
Yeah.
and then the Republicans figured it out 5 years later. So like,
Yeah.
that's not a game changer. We're talking about actual policy platform, which does have decades long implications.
But
because the policy platform of MAGA will last 20, 30 years.
But
the Democrats have to pick their next policy platform very carefully.
It'll only last if the Congress actually takes up some of the platforms, because a lot of what Trump is doing now, right, he did by executive order in his first term. The anti-wokeness, there was a whole big thing with Chris Rufo in like, what was it, September 2020? It was massive. It was going to be like this whole 1776 project. It was very cool. He had all of these executive orders going on, and as soon as Biden, with the border wall, all the rest of it, he did not go through Congress to get those laws passed. He did not fight for that in the legislature. And so what you had, as soon as Biden took office, like literally, you can look up the executive orders, January 21st, 2021. He was in there signing executive orders to reverse everything Trump did. He signed like hundreds of orders to reverse what Trump did. Sure. And then Trump gets into office. He has signed hundreds of executive orders to reverse what Biden did.
Well, we
right?
think
like
Biden, right?
well,
Auto pen.
whatever it is, Biden reversed. He went into Title IX, and he said, okay, for Title IX, which was, what was it, 64 or 72, something like that. He came in and he said, okay, Title IX now. Sex means and gender identity. He did that by executive order. And that pushed out through all the federal agencies. Every federal agency had like 180 days to come back and be like, this is how we're going to fix that. The Department of Ag said we're going to withhold free school lunches if schools don't let boys use girls' bathrooms. You had all of this crazy stuff going on. And that was pushed by executive order so that Trump could just reverse it. Mm-hmm. If a Republican doesn't win the House again, right, or doesn't win the White House, then all of these executive orders could just be reversed again, and the directives go back again. Now, you have to remember, affirmative action was an executive order.
Right.
That was an executive order, and that stayed with us this whole time. Why did no Republican ever reverse it? You know what I'm saying? Like, any of this stuff can just be reversed. And I find it infuriating that we have a Republican Congress and a Republican-led Senate, and they won't take up some of these things to say, we are reaffirming that Title IX means, you know, legal protections for actual women, or whatever the other things are. Some of the border security measures, a lot of that stuff. Mm-hmm. Has the House passed anything other than the Lake and Riley Act and the Big Beautiful Bill this year? And there's tons of policy proposals from Trump's executive orders, the anti-wokeness, some of the anti-wokeness in AI, which I think is a really big deal. And the Congress hasn't taken up any of it. And instead you have the Senate being like, no, we're not going to stick around and try and confirm some of your appointees. And the House is like, no, we're going to go. You have a bunch of people being like, yeah, we're going to take this free trip to Israel. Like, what are you doing? You know, what are you doing? Like, put your stuff together.
I will say that
back these policies.
There's been a little blackpilling on Trump on this show for a little bit, and I understand the frustration, you know, especially like with the way the Epstein thing was handled and with some of the other stuff. But like, just imagine the other option we had if Kamala's president right now. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, what he's done, especially rolling back DEI, a lot of the changes he's made. Like, there have been like the ICE stuff, like going after illegals, like. He has done a lot.
I'm not complaining about Trump. I'm complaining about Congress.
Even the admin.
That's what I was going to say. The thing is when people say, well, look at what we could have had, that's not a pro-Trump position. That's a absolving Congress.
No, but I'm
action.
saying I'm both pro and thank God we don't have the other side. But I'm also a fan of what he's doing with immigration, what he's done with DEI, what he's done with a lot of this stuff. You know, like the JFK stuff, obviously, that was interesting, but I think the only thing that he's really kind of screwed up was Epstein, and I don't think that was necessarily him. I think that was his teams.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.